The arena always feels different when giants walk in. There is a shift in the air, a trembling in the floorboards, a hush that spreads across the crowd as if everyone instinctively understands that what is about to unfold is not just a fight, but a collision of forces that should not exist within the limits of human biology. These men do not simply enter the ring, they loom over it, casting shadows that swallow the canvas. Their size alone seems like a violation of physics, and when their rage is added into the mix, the result is chaos. Colossal frames, terrifying power, endless aggression. Each one of them a one-man army built for destruction. And when such titans collide, all the audience can do is stare with jaws dropped, bracing themselves for the impact they know is coming. This kind of spectacle became infamous because of one unusual beast, Bob Sapp. Today he is often dismissed, laughed at, even mocked. But not everyone remembers the era when Sapp wasn't a joke. Before the decline, before the memes, there was a time when this massive predator stepped into the ring against real monsters and left nothing behind except broken bodies and shocked crowds. Sapp was raw violence wrapped in a mountain of muscle, and for a short but unforgettable moment, he was unstoppable. In one of his most devastating performances, he faced a heavyweight whose size alone would intimidate most fighters. Yet from the opening seconds, Sapp went straight for the kill. He smashed forward with wild aggression, treating his opponent like prey rather than a professional fighter. Each punch carried the force of a sledgehammer, sending the massive man stumbling backward until Sapp finally introduced him to the canvas with a thunderous slam. The crowd erupted, expecting the brutal beatdown to continue, but then came a moment that revealed the giant's true nature. The opponent, either desperate or delusional, tried to turn the fight into a sumo match, attempting to drag Sapp down. It was a foolish decision. Sapp responded instantly, detonating a monstrous strike that crashed into his opponent's jaw, leaving him sprawled across the ring like he had been hit by an oncoming truck. But Sapp wasn't the only monster prowling the world of combat. Across Russia, where brutality has always had its own unique flavor, a group of organizers decided traditional martial arts were too tame. So they created bare-knuckle brawls between enormous fighters, men whose physiques looked sculpted by mythology rather than genetics. In this particular clash, two absolute units squared off with a kind of reckless ferocity that made crowds roar. From the moment the bell rang, the larger, bearded warrior charged forward like a runaway locomotive. His punches landed with the heaviness of a tree exploding under an axe, dropping his opponent to the ground again and again. Yet the fallen giant refused to stay down. Even after severe punishment, his willpower dragged him upright, bloodied but still ready to swing. And then something extraordinary happened. In the next round, the beaten giant gathered his last remaining strength and began turning the tide, hammering back with swings that rattled the arena. For a moment, it looked like the impossible could happen. But the bearded titan wasn't done. With one final surge of rage, he drove his opponent back to the canvas, sealing the match in a brutal, hard-earned victory. It was the kind of fight where neither man left as the same person who entered, but for everyone watching, the spectacle was unforgettable. Then came a showdown from 2011, featuring Alexander Lungu and Neil Cook, a matchup that looked more like two brewery mascots settling a bar dispute than a professional fight. Their sheer size made every movement look like the earth itself was shifting. As soon as the fight began, Lungu rushed forward, unleashing fists that crashed into Cook's head and body with frightening power. Cook, whether clueless or overconfident, tried to provoke Lungu mid-fight, gesturing and taunting like a man who didn't understand the danger he was in. That arrogance cost him dearly. Lungu exploded with a barrage of punches that resembled someone applying old-school discipline, the kind that leaves no room for misunderstanding. Cook collapsed to his knees, unable to withstand the storm, and Lungu stood over him like an executioner who had just handed down judgment. But perhaps one of the most visually shocking battles came in 2016, when two complete opposites stepped into the ring. On one side stood a fighter whose round bouncing frame made him look more like a kung fu panda who had wandered out of a noodle shop and into the wrong building. On the other side stood Hongman Choi, a colossal figure whose towering height and monstrous reach made him seem like a genetic experiment come to life. Even before the fight began, tensions flared during the press conference, with both men firing up the energy in the room as if preparing for a war. But once the bell rang, the chubby underdog surprised everyone. He moved with shocking speed, throwing punches as quickly as he devoured his favorite meals. His motivation to win was so intense it almost looked like he believed victory came with a free order of fries. Time and again, He slipped inside Choi's reach and hammered him with fast combinations that brought the audience to their feet. But giants fall slow, and they hit back hard. With one devastating sequence, Choi shifted the entire momentum of the fight, using his colossal power to send the smaller powerhouse flying. The arena shook as the underdog hit the canvas, reminding everyone that size may not always win fights, but when it does so with terrifying force. These clashes between giants remind us that combat is never just about skill. Sometimes it's about raw power, wild courage, and the willingness to take punishment that would break ordinary men. Every fighter in these battles carried a kind of madness, a refusal to back down even when facing opponents who seemed carved from stone. And that is what makes these moments unforgettable. They push the boundaries of what seems possible inside a ring, offering a glimpse into a world where size, strength, and fury collide in the most primal form of competition. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Which of these colossal battles shook you the most? Which fighter surprised you, and which moment made your jaw drop? Share your thoughts in the comments below and join the discussion. And if you enjoyed this journey through the world of giants, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another story filled with power, courage, and unforgettable drama. Your support helps keep these epic tales alive.